So I made it over Whitecap Mountain, which is really the last significant climb on the entire Appalachian Trail until Mount Katahdin. So until then, which is about 60 miles, it's going to be relatively flat. What you're seeing here is pretty much what I'll see the next 60 miles. Roots and rocks maybe, but for the most part it's enjoyable and flat, and I should be easily able to do 25-mile days, which is what I need to do in order to get to Katahdin on the day I want. I'm trying to get there on Thursday, and we'll see. It's a day earlier than I wanted, but so far looks like it's possible. As I mentioned in the last episode, once you get into the 100-mile wilderness, you're really on your own. There's really not a lot of ways in or out, but there are a couple of logging roads and a couple of private roads that you can pay to get on. And I was coming up to one of these, maybe 50, 60 miles into the 100-mile wilderness, and I started smelling burgers. And then I came to the clearing and I saw my friends up there eating, and I'm like, what is going on? And it turns out that two former thru hikers from 2015 who met on the trail and are now a couple, that's Blue on the left and Forrest Gump on the right, were out here to deliver to us 2016 thru hikers some of the magic they received and pay it back. This was spectacular, so unexpected. Burgers and milkshakes in the 100-mile wilderness. Couldn't believe it. One of the best trail magics ever. The next day, pretty early in the day actually, we came upon this beautiful sandy beach on this lake that we spent a little time at, just kind of sitting and walking through the sand and the water. And a thing that came up for me, and I think it came up because of the trail magic yesterday, a theme that's come up through my entire through hike is the theme of kindness. And I realized more and more, particularly the older I get, but particularly on this through hike, just how important kindness is to our lives, because I have had some amazing kindnesses bestowed upon me on this trail. I've also had a few, I haven't talked about them, but a few not so kind moments where I wasn't treated so well. And the difference is so stark that I realized just how much it affected me physically and emotionally. And so, and then I'm walking and I'm thinking about this and I'm thinking, well, that's the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's kindness. And I'm like, wow, it's been there the whole time. And I've tried to live my life that way, but I realize now just how important it is. And I'm going to go back to my life and I'm going to make sure that I try to give that kindness back in everything I do. Well, the first view of Katahdin, it's hard to believe. We're almost there. We should have had a view on Whitecap, but because of the rain and being overcast, we didn't see it. And so this is our first real viewing, and it's spectacular, even from this distance. Well, we've been in the world of lakes and ponds for a while now, but when we came across this one, there was just something special about it. It was kind of toward the end of the day, and we hadn't planned on staying here because we were gonna just try to find something right off of the trail to set up our tents. But when we came across this, it was just so beautiful, couldn't pass it up. And there was plenty of room on the beach there, so we set up our tents right on the beach, and had a really enjoyable evening. This was the next to the last night of the entire Appalachian Trail, for me at least. There was some discussion whether others would push forward as quickly as I was or they'd slow down a little, but we knew it might be one of our last times together, so we cooked marshmallows, built a fire, and Diatom had carried these marshmallows the whole way through the 100-mile wilderness, and we sat around the fire and talked and socialized and cooked marshmallows, and it was just one of my fondest memories of the entire trip. Morning seemed to come really quickly, and I was the first one up and started hiking right away. I had decided that I wanted to get to A Bridge that evening, which was about 25 miles away, and we had talked about it the night before, and the other guys hadn't decided they wanted to do that. They weren't in as big of a rush as I was, and they weren't as concerned about summiting Mount Katahdin in the rain as I was. I was really opposed to it, which was why I was pushing to summit on Thursday. So I knew if I got to A-Ball Bridge that evening, I could summit Mount Katahdin the following day, that Thursday, and probably avoid the rain. But it did mean separating from the guys. But we made a plan that if we didn't see each other again before summiting, I would wait at the hostel in Millinocket for them so that we had a day or so together to celebrate our victory. Well, it had to happen. On my last full day, I fell into a bog. Uh, Not too far up, but enough to get my shoes completely soaked and muddy. Anyway, I thought I was going to avoid that, but not a chance. So that was a pretty beautiful view of Katahdin back there, but I'm now walking toward A-Ball Bridge, and this is the first time I'm coming out of the 100-mile wilderness. This is the first road um, out of the 100-mile wilderness, and there's a camp store up ahead, but I also know when I cross the bridge, I'm going to get a view of Mount Katahdin like no other, and I'm so excited to see what it's going to look like, and it doesn't disappoint.
Oh my God. Oh, wow.
Well, and if that wasn't enough excitement for me, about a half hour later, I was coming out of this camp store here and found the guys. They had decided to push forward and spend the last night with me. And I was so thrilled because I got to tell you, I was actually a little sad that I was going to spend the last night by myself. But they came by and they came through and we toasted to our last night. But I think the most special thing was our campsite, which we found this amazing campsite right under Mount Katahdin. And this was kind of looking over us all night. And I had amazing dreams. Hi, everybody. Spielberg here. I am back home in my apartment, my very small apartment in Manhattan. But one thing I do have, I have this beautiful tree that I thought I'd tape this video in front of. I sometimes just stare at this tree and it takes me back to the trail and keeps me connected to nature in some way. I'm blessed to have it. Not many people in Manhattan have this kind of beauty outside of their apartment window. But at any rate, I wanted to take this opportunity one last time to address you directly. It's the last time I'm probably going to have that opportunity, and I wanted to explain what's coming next. First of all, there's one episode left, and it's in two parts. I'm planning on posting it next Saturday if all goes well. It might be a day or two after that if I run into any difficulties, but I've been working on it for a long time, and I want you to see it sequentially. So when you get that email from YouTube, sometimes it says Craig M has posted a new video. If I put two up at the same time, sometimes they only list one, and they'll direct you to the last one, not the first one. I want to make sure you see the first one first. So go to day 175, and at the end of day 175, it will direct you to the final episode. And that very final piece is very small. It's a 5-minute video, which is meant to stand on its own. And I've been thinking about this since the beginning of the trail practically and been working toward it. So it's really a 6-month project in this little 5-minute segment. And I hope that if you like it and it speaks to you, that you'll forward it on to friends, post it on Facebook or your social media. I'd love to get it around because what it is it's supposed to give a kind of very digestible feel of the trail, and that people that aren't interested in it, like you or I, don't have the time to watch all of my 9 hours of trail videos, but may want to know a little bit more about the trail and see what it is. So that's really what that will be, and I hope you enjoy it. But before I go, I wanted to also use this opportunity to thank all of you who have really made this possible for me. I don't know if without support, kindness, viewing, comments, thumbs up. Without all that, I would have been able to accomplish this. So this, in many ways, is your success as much as it is mine. And so I wanted to thank you, particularly those of you who gave me trail magic along the way, those of you that gave me a hitch, took me into your home, your hostels, your bed and breakfast, those of you that put Coca-Cola on the side of the trail, like in the middle of nowhere, like that's the kind of stuff that when you're out there, it changes your life. It changes your view of the world. And don't underestimate that power, those small kindnesses as I talked about in this video. So I want to thank you all for that. I also want to thank all of you who left comments. When I was out there in the woods, the first thing I would do when I turned my phone on, I didn't care who called me, who left me emails, I'd go to your comments. Like, that's how valuable they were, and those thumbs up, like, it really meant a lot to me. And for years, I never left. I followed so many thru hikers for 3 years before I did this myself. I never once left a comment, and now I'm leaving comments for other YouTubers because I realize just how valuable it is and how much it means to them. So I'd like to actually ask you, I realized, that you all know me, but aside from the 250 or so of you that have left comments over these last 6 months, I don't know who most of you are. So I wonder if you'd consider leaving a comment. Maybe something as simple as, I've been watching you from Australia, or England, or wherever you're from, obviously. Or, I'm thinking about doing a thru hike myself, this has been helpful, or what you found helpful, what you didn't find helpful, anything. I'd just like to get to know you a little bit before this is all over. And if you're uncomfortable with that, I understand, but could you leave a thumbs up? I don't know who leaves the thumbs ups for me. I don't know where they come from, but it's really great. And just for viewing, all of you, it amazes me now. I started doing this with having never, as you know, taken a video before in my life, or maybe just like at a birthday party or something, but never really taken video before, much less editing. I had never been into iMovie or any editing software, and so to figure it out on the trail, and I got the drive to learn more because you all were responding. I was getting all these views, and so it kind of propelled me on. And so I really have you to thank for my education in this beautiful new medium that I've really enjoyed. So thank you all for that. It amazes me that I'm getting 3,000 views an episode now within a week or two of posting them. Because I started this just for family and friends, and I think there was 50 people when I started the trail, and to have it grow now to nearly 3,000 is really extraordinary. So thank you so much. I think that's it. The only thing I'd want to say is that for those of you that are thinking about doing a thru hike, whether it be on the AT, PCT, CDT, anywhere, or a smaller hike, just go do it. I didn't realize how difficult the AT was going to be. You all know I did the Camino a few years ago, and then again this past summer, and the Camino was tough, but this was a beast. And the older you get, the more difficult it gets. So don't put it off too long. That's one piece of advice, and I'll have other pieces of advice. I will be posting a post-gear video and a kind of post-psychological, what it's like to come back into society, go back to the real world kind of video. It may take a month or two for me to do that, but do please stay subscribed. I will be doing those in the coming months, and I do think I'll take you along if you're willing to stay subscribed, take you along on my future adventures. The big question everybody's commenting, saying right now is, are you going to do the PCT next? And I do want to do the PCT, but it's not going to be anytime soon. I have to go back to work. I work in a wonderful place that was so supportive, and they love and respect me there, and I'm devoted to them. So I'm going to spend my time there for the next few years, but I am going to be actually going out on long vacation hikes for 3-4 weeks where, I will take my camera and take you along. So I'm already planning another Camino, which will be visually beautiful. I'm thinking about the John Muir Trail next summer. So there's lots of other things on the horizon. So I hope you stay subscribed. Finally, just thank you again for coming along and being part of this this transformative adventure of mine. So thank you again, and I'll see you next week.